Hi tribe, welcome to today's class. My name's Alicia and I'll be guiding you through your practice today. So let's go ahead and set up our mats if you haven't already. Get anything that you may need, any props or water. Today's practice we are going to focus on our spine. So this is a flow for a healthy spine, healthy back. In our society, we tend to always be compressing, sitting or slouching, doing all kinds of activities that force us to kind of compress. So today we're going to focus a lot on expanding the spine, extending the spine, as well as getting a couple little nice twists in there. So let's go ahead and get right into it. We're going to start today with some cat-cow. So we'll come into tabletop position. Bringing the wrists underneath of the shoulders, knees coming underneath of the hips. Feet are in line with the knees. Keep a neutral neck here. So we're going to look at the top of the mat. Bring the belly button into the spine, pressing away from the mat. And from here, as you inhale, lift the hips. Looking up, release the belly down towards the mat. Find that nice arch. And then exhale, tuck the pelvis under, lift the ribs, release the top of the head down towards the mat into cat. Inhaling back into cow. Move with your own breath at your own pace. Starting to connect our body and our breath here in our cat-cows. Focusing on still pressing away from the mat. Everything staying nice and engaged here. Finishing up whichever posture you're on. And then we'll meet back in our tabletop position. From here, inhale, bring that left leg straight back, flex the foot, square the hips. Engage the core. And then when you're ready, we're gonna bring the right arm out, bicep next to the ear, reaching forward with the arm, kicking back with the foot. Take a breath here, and then if you feel nice and stable and you're not too wobbly, you can sweep that right hand back, kicking the foot into the hand, lifting with the chest, getting a nice arch in the back. 3, 2, and 1. Release. Bring it back down, nice and controlled. All right, let's rock the hips side to side for a moment. And then coming back to center. Inhale, bring the right leg straight back. Flex that foot, square the hips. So we have a tendency to want to dump our weight over onto that left leg. Try to keep it nice and even here. And then when you're ready, we'll bring the left arm out. Again, find this opposition within the body where you're reaching forward with the hand, kicking back with the foot. And then if you feel good, bring that hand back, reaching for the foot, kicking the foot into the hand, gently lifting with the chest. For 3, 2, and 1. Release it back down. Let's rock the hips side to side. All right, from here, we're gonna walk the hands forward onto the mat, releasing the elbows, the chest, and the chin down towards the mat. Try to keep the hips directly over the knees here. Coming into our puppy pose. Getting a nice stretch into the fronts of the arms and shoulders. Nice deep breaths. And then start to lift with the chest, walking the hands back in towards our tabletop position. From here, we're gonna bring that right hand in towards the center of the mat. Inhale, sweep the left arm up, and exhale, bring it underneath of the right arm. Thread the needle. Release that left shoulder down to the mat and extending the right arm out. So we're getting a nice little gentle twist here in the spine. Try to keep the hips squared so that it's really twisting in the spine and the torso, not coming from the hips. If you'd like, you can also bring that right arm behind the back for a wrap, opening up through the shoulders a little bit more. Let's take one more breath here. And then slowly start to come back out of the twist, back into our tabletop here. This time the left hand's gonna come into the center of the mat. As we inhale, sweep the right arm up, and exhale, bring it under and through, releasing that right shoulder down. Left arm extends out. Again, you can also take that left arm behind the back for a wrap. Notice where your hips are. Make sure that we're not lifting that left hip too much. Try to energetically press the left hip down to square the hips to the mat. One more breath. And then start to come back into our tabletop. From here, we're going to tuck the toes and bring the hips up into our downward facing dog. So downward facing dog, there's a lot of stuff going on in this pose. But the main purpose of downward dog is actually to extend in the spine. So really focus on reaching those hips up towards the ceiling. Relax the head completely, creating that space in between each vertebrae. We're going to hold here for a few breaths. Last one. Look between the hands and just shift the weight forward into our plank. From here, we're going to lower all the way down like a chaturanga, hover above the mat, and then release all the way down onto our stomachs in our prone pose. All right, bringing the chin to the mat, we're going to have the hands come just underneath of the legs and the thighs just a little bit as we bring the feet together. Inhale, engage the core, and then as you exhale, just lifting the legs up off the mat. So we're keeping the core nice and engaged to protect the lower back, and we're getting a nice little movement arch here in the lower back and the lumbar spine. Hold for 3, 2, and 1. Lower the legs back down. Untuck the hands and the arms from underneath of the thighs. We're going to come into a full locust this time. So inhale, engage that core, and then exhale. Bring everything up, the chest and the legs. Interlace the fingers behind the back. Squeeze the shoulders together. 3, 2, and 1. Lower it back down. Pause here for a moment. Take a breath. All right, let's bring the hands underneath of the shoulders now. We're going to bring the feet out to each corner of the mat, maybe even a little wider if you'd like. Again, inhale, engage the core, and exhale, pressing up with the hands. Good. All right. So really pressing forward with the chest here, opening up through the heart center. Bottom of the chin is parallel with the floor. Three, 2, and 1. Lower it back down. All right, so we've warmed up the spine a little bit now so we can come into our bow pose. So bring the legs back in to where they're hip distance apart and then bend at the knees. Bringing the chin to the mat, we're going to grab the outsides of the feet with the hands. Inhale, engage the core, and exhale, bring it up into your bow pose. Make sure that the knees are still staying parallel with each other. So we don't want to bring them out to the sides. We want to keep them nice and together. Deep breaths. Holding for 3, 2, and 1. Lower it back down. Pause here for a moment. Take a deep breath. If you want to bend the knees, we can windshield wiper the feet side to side. And then go ahead and press our way back up onto our knees. So I'll face you guys for this. We're going to come into gate pose. So coming onto our knees, bringing the right foot out, foot facing forward. Take a nice deep breath and then bring that arm over, stretching in through the left side here. Gonna come both ways with this. Exhale, release. Now bring that left hand down to the mat as we bring the right arm across. Lengthening through the entire side body, almost like getting an extended side angle pose down on your knee. And then coming back to center, bring that knee in and switch feet. So the foot is still, you want it to be facing the side of the mat. Good. Nice and tall, elongate through the spine. Inhale, sweeping that right arm around. Make sure you're not putting weight on this leg, right? So maybe even bringing the hand down behind or in front. Just getting a nice stretch here. And then bring it back. Right hand releases down to the mat as the left arm sweeps around this time. One more breath. And then bring it back to center. Bring that knee in. Now we're going to keep the knees hip distance apart. The feet can come in to create a little tripod here as we bring our hands to the lower back and prepare for camel pose. So inhale, engage the core, squeeze the elbows and the shoulders together. And then as you exhale, you're going to press the hips forward, lift up and back with the chest, coming into your camel pose. Now, if it's in your practice to release the hands down to the ankles, you can, but continue to press the hips forward here, keeping the hips stacked over the knees. Holding for 3, 2, and 1. Tuck the chin to the chest, bring the hands back to the lower back, gently coming up. Release the hands to the mat. Knees come out all the way as wide as the mat. Shoot the hips back towards the heels, dropping down into our child's pose. So lots of compressions that we just did, right? We just spent a lot of time creating an arch in the lower back. And so now it's important to counter that stretch by creating space in the lower back. So while you're here in your child's pose, focus on inhaling and sending that breath into the lower spine. Feel the space around the sacrum expand. And we're able to do this in child's pose because our thighs are slightly compressing the ribs, giving us this really beautiful opportunity to breathe into the lower back. One more breath here. And then start to lift with the chest, coming back up. And then if you want to just cross the feet here, we're going to come onto our seats. Bringing the legs out in front. Flex the feet, sit up nice and tall. Pause here in your staff pose for a moment. Take a breath. Really still finding that length in the spine, keeping the core engaged. Inhale, bringing the arms up overhead. And exhale, hinge at the hips, leading with the chest and the chin, coming into your seated forward fold. Paschimottanasana. So while we're here, it's important. We're not rounding the spine, trying to get down as far as we can. We're leading forward with the chest and the chin, keeping the spine as extended as we can. We're going to hold here. All right, gently start to come back up, keeping the spine nice and straight. Bending the knees as we make our way all the way down to our backs. Gently rolling down. All right. Walking the heels in nice and close to our seat, reaching the fingertips towards the heels. Coming into our bridge pose now, so same thing as what we were doing when we were prone on our stomachs, right? We inhale, engage the core. Exhale, press the feet into the mat, lift the hips up. If you want to interlace the fingers underneath of the back, roll the shoulders under, press the chest towards the chin here. Holding here for a couple more breaths. Make sure to keep the knees parallel with each other. 3, 2, and 1. Lower it back down. All right, let's bring the knees into the chest. Give them a nice squeeze. Lifting the forehead up towards the knees, really rounding in the spine again, counteracting that lower back bend. Release the head back down, grabbing the backs of the thighs. We're going to take some rolls here. So we're going to massage the entire spine on the ground by rolling forward and back. So coming forward and back. A couple more times. And then finishing back on our backs. All right. Releasing the feet back down towards the mat. We're going to take our right foot now across the left thigh in a figure 4 position. Reaching the hands through the legs, interlace the fingers behind the left thigh, and then gently pull in towards the center of the chest, getting a nice opening in the hip. Now if you want to take this a little bit deeper, you can interlace the fingers in front of the left shin instead. Maybe pull in a little closer. Nice deep breaths. Using the breath to send the signal to the brain that it's okay to relax, and then the brain will send the signal back to the muscles, letting them release, allowing us to get a little bit deeper into our stretch here. Releasing the left foot back down on the mat. Keep the right foot right where it is in that figure 4. We're going to walk the left foot out all the way to the left edge of the mat, and then allow the knees to fall over to the right. Arms come out in a T position as we turn and look over the left hand. So again, getting a little twist here in the spine. If you prefer a different variation of your supine twist, you can take any variation that you'd like. One more breath here. And then we'll lift the knees, walking that left foot back in line with the hip, and then switch the feet. So the right foot comes down and the left foot's gonna come across the right thigh. Again, reaching those hands in between the legs, interlace the fingers behind the right thigh or in front of the right shin, and then gently pull in towards the chest. You should feel that in the left hip. This is also a place where if you find yourself really struggling to hold on and your shoulders are up off the mat, maybe using a strap would be beneficial, because we want to be able to relax while we're here. releasing the right foot back down onto the mat, keeping the left foot where it is. We'll allow the arms to come out to the sides, palms facing up, heel toe the right foot out towards the right edge of the mat, and then gently allow the knees to fall over to the left, looking out over the right arm. And both shoulders are down on the mat, so the only thing that's up right now is just the right hip coming up, giving us a nice little twist in the back. Couple more deep breaths. And then lifting the knees back up, walking that foot back in line with the hips. Let's bring the knees into the chest one more time. Maybe this time find a gentle rock side to side. I like to circle my knees here and really massage the lower back, that lumbar spine on the mat. Get some blood flowing to the area. And if you want to bring the knees wide and come into a little happy baby here. All right, and then slowly, gently releasing the legs, extending them all the way out onto the mat. Allow the feet to just gently fall out to the side as we bring our arms out beside us, palms facing up. Coming into your Shavasana. Shavasana is another really great one for your back. And in fact, a good variation is if you have a blanket or a pillow that you can place underneath of the knees here while you're in your Shavasana. Lifting the knees is going to help us get our entire back down onto the mat and still give us a little bit of that extension in the lumbar spine. So if you have a blanket or a pillow handy, I highly recommend adding that to your Shavasana. Go ahead and close the eyes. I'm going to guide you into your relaxation. I'll be ending the video feed, but please feel free to stay here in your relaxation as long as you'd like. I recommend always at least 5 minutes. Eyes are closed, returning the breath back to normal. Relaxing the forehead. Relaxing all the muscles around the eyes, the eyebrows. Unclench the teeth and the jaw, releasing the tongue from the roof of your mouth. Starting from the top of your head all the way down to the tips of your toes, scanning the body, notice anywhere that you may still be holding on to any tension. And with each exhale, allow it to release, let it go. Sinking deeper into your relaxation. Take a moment here in your Shavasana to acknowledge yourself for giving back to yourself, making yourself a priority today, carving time out of your busy day for your practice. I want to thank you so much for joining me. It was my honor to guide you through your practice. Namaste.